In the 9th chapter, starting with verse 38, it is written, John said to him, Teacher, we saw someone casting out demons in your name. We tried to stop him because he was not following us. But Jesus says, do not stop him, for no one who does a deed of power in my name will be able soon afterward to speak evil of me. Whoever is not against us is for us. For truly I tell you, whoever gives you a cup of water to drink because you bear the name of Christ will by no means lose a reward. If any of you put a stumbling block before one of these little ones who believe in me, it would be better for you if a great millstone were hung around your neck and you were thrown into the sea. If your hand causes you to stumble, cut it off. It is better for you to enter life maimed than to have 2 hands and to go to hell, to the unquenchable fire. And if your foot causes you to stumble, cut it off. It's better for you to enter life lame than to have 2 feet and to be thrown into hell. And if your eye causes you to stumble, tear it out. It's better for you to enter the kingdom of God with 1 eye than to have 2 eyes and to be thrown into hell, where the worm never dies and the fire is never quenched. For everyone will be salted with fire. Salt is good, but if salt has lost its saltiness, how can you season? Have salt in yourselves and be at peace with one another. It's the word of God for the people of God.
Thanks be to God.
A lot of people were asking me that said, where in the world did you come up with this sermon title this week? Roy Orbison said it was okay. I was driving down the road and I was listening to Sirius XM, and I would listen to The Bridge. That's my go-to channel because it plays the music from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. My generations, you know. My wife will sometimes trick me and go back into the 60s. That's a little too old. No, I guess I do remember the Beatles and stuff. Yeah, I kind of remember that stuff. But 70s, 80s, and 90s. And I'm driving down the road, and Roy Orbison comes on. He doesn't come on singing Pretty Woman. He comes on, I was all right for a while. I could smile for a while. And then I saw you last night. You held my hand so tight. You stopped to say hello. You wished me well. You couldn't tell. I'd been crying over you. And as he's singing, I'm thinking of those words of Bob Dylan when Roy Orbison starts singing Crying. It makes you want to drive your car off a cliff. You're sitting there going, once in a while, I listen to that country station too, and they had, maybe from an older generation, Hank Williams. I'm so lonesome. A little bit of whippoorwill. That's terrible. Things that make you surging of emotions. Music does that. It brings these surgings of emotions out of you. It brings out memories. You ever go to an opera? I've only been to one. I went to one opera. And what it was the music of the opera. The music guided your and then all of a sudden, and you just want to cry with the clown, you know. It's just, it's surges of emotion. And Jesus, in our scriptures today, is coming on us with an operatic force. He's using the exaggerated notions and actions to make his disciples face the gravity of something that they have done. They rebuked an unknown person who offered healing and exorcism in the name of Jesus. And the disciples had stopped up a tributary of divine compassion from flowing to those who had need. He offered his disciples some of the harshest words. It would have been better if you'd have taken a great millstone and tied it around your neck and thrown yourself into the sea than put up a block for one of these little ones who are trying to find their way beneath. The Jesus of love and mercy gave this illustration, pleading for these little ones. There was a practice of paschal where you sacrifice a member for the sake of others, for the sake of the body as a whole. Sometimes sealing a covenant with the removal of a finger or the removal of a hand as a punishment for a crime. Jesus does something different in this, though. He's talking about in the context of not saving oneself, but to save others. He recommends the pain and the humiliation of permanent maiming as a positive alternative, not for the sake of self-survival, but for the protection of the little ones. And who are the little ones? We're not just talking about children, we're talking about all of those who are spiritual infants trying to find their way to Jesus Christ. Trying to find their path to salvation through Him. And so Jesus is telling His disciples, don't get in the way. Don't be a stumbling block for them. Jesus was not ashamed to let the fiercest feelings that He had turn tears of compassion and love for others and little ones who stumbled and struggled in this world. Tears of justice, tears of compassion, genuine heart and soul break are rare today. When I grew up, men don't cry. You're not supposed to cry. Sometimes my dad would give me that, hey, I'll give you something to cry about. Sometimes the tears, though, just come. But you have to stop them up. You know, there might be a reason that women live longer than men. Because you allow your emotions to be let out. The lifeblood of tears is the lifeblood of health and joy and strength. As my mother used to say, a man without tears is a man without a heart. And like I said, Roy Orbison said it's okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay to have tears. Come on, guys. Who in the world can watch watch Old Yeller and walk away from the TV without a few tears dribbling down. I don't even watch dog movies anymore. They mess up everything. That's all. What gets us fired up? What makes our eyes juice up and our cheeks get damp? What connects your waterworks? What makes you rain? What makes us cry, church? Is our crying nothing more than wanting what the world has and wanting what we used to have? Elsie showed me an article in the 1940s, an Easter celebration of 700 people in attendance at this church. 700 people. What makes us cry today, church? Jesus wasn't afraid of his tears. He wept. Those words we know, Jesus wept. But he also cried on other occasions. Matthew 27, 46, and 50. Mark 15, 34, 37. Luke 23, 46. Jesus literally was crying, and he cried a lot. An emotional Jesus who would break into smiles and burst into tears of sorrow and chagrin is the Savior that we serve. Jesus isn't a, you better not cry. Jesus is, it's okay. It's okay. So church, what do we cry for? What do we cry over? What do we cry about anymore? Do we cry that the church is in disarray? Where sides are pulling the churches apart? Do we cry when we confuse our polity with our politics? When you can't tell the difference between priests and pedophiles, pastors and pimps? Or communities fear police officers more than they fear gangs? What makes us cry, church? Long years ago, I remember sitting in front of a TV watching the Today Show on a Christmas morning. It was a short story about a man named Frank. Frank worked down on the Rio Grande River as a surveyor. One day Frank had been out surveying. He sat down along the banks of the river and had his lunch, a little brown bag of food. Some leftovers were in the bag, and he set it to the side, and he took a nap on the bank of the river. And he heard a rustling sound that woke him up, and he looked over, and there were two Mexican children eating the scraps of his lunch. That was their meal for the day. As I sat and I watched that story, I could just feel the waterworks running down my eyes. And not only were these poor children hungry, what Frank did afterwards, amazing. He retired from his job, he sold everything he had, bought himself a little shanty along the Rio Grande River, and started on his own little food bank to a Mexican village across the river. Every nickel he got, he bought potato chips and any type, whatever he could get his hands on, most foods he could get his hands on, he did it. He won all kinds of city awards, and state awards, and national awards, and they put pin medals on them. And he said, "Thank you very much." You take off the medal, go to a pawn shop, sell it, get the money, and go feed some more people. He showed compassion. Did we show compassion? Because that's where the church needs to be. Our hearts hearts need to break, our eyes need to water up when we see our neighbors and our friends who are not coming into our church because they don't feel welcome. We need to get it out there. You are. I don't care if you've got purple hair and tattoos from the top of your head to the soles of your feet. You can come and sit in one of these pews, and the people here will love you. They'll love you because Jesus tells us we must. We must. We cannot be a stumbling block to anyone seeking Jesus Christ. Not a single person. We must show the love of Christ to all. And when we show Christ's love, we are lifted up. Because when we even offer a cup of water in the name of Jesus, our reward is set in short. Don't lose your saltiness, church. Don't lose the salt of the tears. Have compassion and love in the name of Jesus. Amen. We got a treat this morning. We got the children's choir. They're going to sing for us. And as everybody knows, when the children's choir sings, put your show up.